Hi guys, welcome to today's video on advanced Fibonacci. So Fibonacci to start with is just quality, in a trending market you can see it just pop up, pull back, pop up, pull back. So like the 382 level, the Fib 50% retrace level and the Fibonacci 618 level. But what if I showed you how I use it, an advanced technique to predict when the trend actually changes, and shows you how you can actually use Fibonacci with multi-time frame analysis. And let me give you an example here what I'm looking at here. So in this pair here, this is a weekly chart of CAD, and as you can see, this is your first high there. This is your first lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and it's popped back up in. You can say it's made a double top pattern. It has. So if we just do the Fibonacci pullbacks here, you can see they normally coincide to some form of 382 level there, and so forth. So we'll just do another one as well. We'll just point out what we mean by this. From there to there, 618, no problem at all. Now I believe on this chart here that this has actually exhausted its run and is creating an inverse head and shoulder pattern. Why do I think that? Well, if we look at the monthly chart just here, we can actually see it's decelerated here, pop back up here, come back down, and it's actually on the level around about 82 it is, where it looks like it could be stalling. The fact it also powered up quite nicely as well gives me confidence to say it could be changing, but I want more confirmation. So the Fibonacci on here, you drop down to the weekly level and you can say to yourself, well, it could have pulled back quite nicely. And what I do is here now, you've got two Fibonacci levels. You've got this one here, which is in this zone, but you could also say it was a pullback as well to start with, and made a double top pattern, so the actual trend is continuing. And what I'm trying to say is here is you want to use the higher time frames to predict where you think price will turn, and then look on the lower time frames or what that means next. So clearly here on the weekly, it shows you it's actually it's having a pullback to 618. Now if I just pop down to the daily for you now as well to show you that, you can also say that for this to change trend, it's also trending again on the smaller time frames, Fibonacci, 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 all the way through. And let me give you an example here. So I do think this will pull back at some point, but just to show you a little small Fibonacci there, break down, come back up, 618 retracement it has. And if we go into the 4-hour chart now, we will see that pullback there. So we've got this pullback from here, this top here, come down to the bottom here, come back up here. There's your 618 Fibonacci. But look what happened at the bottom. It started to making higher highs, higher lows already. So the 4-hour chart is showing some form of trend change here. And what you want to do now is then actually predict where that will happen next. So if this trend change happens on the 4-hour, that then would actually coincide with the daily chart, where we think it will start heading back up, which then coincides with the weekly chart, which was what I said to you to start with. I feel this chart will actually start heading higher, and that was at the Fibonacci 618 level. So there's quite a lot of confidence there for the trend change to happen, and other things as well besides the point. So when you're using Fibonacci, you can use it in the opposite direction to actually predict when the trend change is going to happen. To do that though, you must actually use multi-time frame analysis and actually have analysis of thinking, I believe this chart will go head in the other direction now. And why do I think that? Obviously there are several reasons, and then you put the evidence together for that trade. This is how you spot the runs. So here you could then, if you want to draw a line here, for example, a trend line, you could actually have some form of trend line being formed there as well. You can, and maybe a neckline up here for the head and shoulder pattern, and you start creating patterns out of this as well. And this is how you start trading. More advanced stuff, obviously. But this is how I actually predict the new trends. And this goes right down to the 1-hour chart as well. So you can see the trend change on the 1-hour chart. And I just want to pop that, show you the example there very briefly on the 1-hour chart. So on this 1-hour chart here, you can see clearly that we was ranging downwards quite nicely. Notice how we had a break here, a double bottom. It did, although it gapped up, notice how it gapped up and stayed back up, then come down for the retest, and then heading back high again and put in a higher low here and a higher low here. For me personally, I do feel this will break the 82 level, come down for a retest, and then we head up higher. That's what I do personally believe. But at the moment though, we have to wait and see for that. But this is where you see the Fibonacci actually changing again. So even the intraday does the same kind of patterns there. I hope that helps out a little bit with the Fibonacci, advanced Fibonacci and multi-time frame analysis, and I'll speak to you soon.